What's up, guys? Welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of Success in Dialogue. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to turn this on and listen. And before I turn you over, I just want to give two brief messages. One, obviously, with any content, please follow us on Instagram at Success in Dialogue. And follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, more important than that, this podcast is, of course, free to listen to, but I would hope that if you are so moved by any of our fantastic guests or sound bites or any of our topics, that you would please share this with somebody that you think it could impact their life, because this isn't advertised, it's not on TV, anything like that. The only way that it's going to get out there is if we all share it with one another. So by clicking that little box with the arrow and sharing it with one person, you're doing your good deed for the day and being a good friend. So I really appreciate that, and enjoy the episode. What's up, guys? Welcome to Success in Dialogue with Patrick Lee. And today I am thrilled to be joined by four of my best friends and some really accomplished individuals that have fantastic stories. And I think this is going to be the first episode of Success in Dialogue that is released ever. So welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the cave. We've got a nice panel here. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but before we start, thanks guys for coming on, and I'm excited for a great episode. So first to my left, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I play soccer at Grand Valley State University and will be a sophomore next year.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Joe Hardenbergh. I play baseball at Hillsdale College. I went to CC with Pat and Joey.
Yeah, I'm Joey Kamish. I play lacrosse at Loyola Maryland, and just like everyone else, we're going to be sophomores coming up in college.
Yeah. So, as you will come to know listening to the episodes, I will always start off with a first pitch, kind of an opening question to let you get to know our guests. So, and for today, we have a sports-related question, as this episode is about athletics. So I asked you guys, what is the greatest sports moment in your life that you've experienced that you were not a player in the game? So watching sport. What do you think, Sarah?
I think the Women's World Cup is like how many championships they've won is really like, I don't know, it's crazy because the men's team, just seeing like women and like win, because you know the whole like money thing and how it's not as, we don't get paid as much for sports and stuff, and how many championships they've won is really, it's empowering. It's cool.
That's a great answer.
Mine would probably be like ones I've like seen in person. Super Bowl 51, the whole 28-3, Tom Brady comes back. That's like it's like the loudest stadium I've ever heard. But whenever like you're playing as like a little kid and you hear, don't give up, never quit. Like even if you're down by a lot, like that's like the epitome of that, because like they came back and they won on the biggest stage.
I'm a huge Michigan State fan, so I'd have to say, like, right when I saw that question, probably the first thing that came to my mind was like, what was the most enjoyable like Michigan State game that I watched? And it would probably have been when I was, I think in middle school. I was down like in vacation in Florida with my family, and MSU was playing in the Rose Bowl against Stanford.
Oh yeah.
And there was like one big play at the end when they stopped them on a fourth down, and that I just like completely remember, and it was
Max Bola.
Exactly. So it was just like seeing how happy that made like my dad, especially because I was watching with him, and me too. Is it probably one of the most memorable like games that I watched that I wasn't actually a part of.
Great answers. And we're actually privileged today to be joined by a live studio audience. Do you want to come say hi?
Good. Hi.
This is my friend Maddie.
His best friend.
We're gonna give you a shot to answer the first pitch. A shot.
What was the question again? What was my favorite
A sports moment that you were not a part of.
Big sports fan.
Big sports
I'm
fan.
trying to think of my favorite sport.
Come on.
This is
Okay, I don't know if this counts, but when I watched the Olympics, oh, actually the camera. When I watched the Olympics and Gabby Douglas won,
Gabby Douglas, that's a generational athlete.
I'd like to be able
She's
to
kind
swim.
of cool. She's tiny too. Strong.
She's like 4'11".
Yeah. Did you see that picture of her next to
Shaq.
Yeah.
That's a great picture.
Yeah, she's like 4'11".
And she's gold medal. Same.
Many
Yeah.
gold
How about
medals.
Michael Phelps though? He's one like.
He's just not cute.
He was on TV today. Okay.
He's
his
Mark
wingspan.
His Mark
His wingspan is humongous.
Why are we talking about this?
That was a
so
rumor.
much?
That's a rumor. That's a rumor. Anyway, so that's a great opening round. We're gonna start off. Another thing I love to talk about on this podcast is the kind of go get it moment. So you guys have played your sports at some of the highest levels, but that obviously doesn't happen overnight. So what I want to ask you guys is kind of, was there a moment in your life when you said, hey, like, I know this is going to take a lot of work, I know there's going to be a lot of behind the scenes hours, but it's going to be worth it, and this is something that I want to pursue for many years in the future because I love it and because I want to be great at it. And you know, the sacrifice does not weigh more than the potential success. So I think for, you know, just saying this on my first episode, for a lot of people out there who are successful and who have done big things, a lot of times you have to put your fears aside and kind of make that choice. So this is something that I'm asking all my guests, and I'm really pretty curious to see what you guys have said, especially as, you know, the sports you all started playing when you were young and have a long career. So
My dad played football at Michigan State, and my mom cheerleaded at Michigan State. So I was in a family of athletes pretty much, and I've always seen older people and like classmates and older people who have gone on and played college sports and done big things there, and I just felt like stopping at club and stopping at when I was 17 years old is just not, I wasn't satisfied enough to be just done after that.
right.
Like my all-time goal was to play in college and win a national championship.
Which she did. Spoiler alert.
Subtle flex.
Spoiler
I'm
alert.
kidding.
You should have won
Yeah.
the ring. Did you guys get rings?
No, we haven't got them yet because the whole
Okay.
Corona thing we got cut off.
Oh,
Yeah.
but you're gonna get them.
Yeah. We get two. We get one for winning GLIAC, which is like our conference, and then one for winning championship.
One for each ring finger.
Yeah.
Nice.
So hopefully by the end.
There's
we
some
have
some rings on right now, but I have a.
not national
Imagine,
championship
yeah.
rings, so you know.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
was there a point in time when you set that goal to play in college, with, you know, maybe when you first got recruiting interest or saw a game or made your high school team or something like that, or was it something just?
I think I've always just known that I wanted to play in college, but I've always wanted to play. My goal was to play D1 and Grand Valley's D2. So I remember one game in Florida. We were playing for just like a national, just like our league or whatever. It was my coach came up to me and was like, "Yo, like Grand Valley's looking at you." The very first thing I said was, "Aren't they D2?" He was like, "Yeah, but they're pretty good." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then just wandered off and played our game. And I was like, never thought of it, nothing after that. And then I went and visited and was like, yeah, wow. Then I got like looked into it, saw how many championships they won. I was like, I want to be if I'm going to play, I want to be on a winning team, and I want to have to work hard to win to get there. I don't want to just be on a D2 team, you know, play whatever, be at state, play, party, you know, it's not really my vibe. So
Right.
playing on a D2 team where I can win and have the potential to win, I would rather do that.
Right. Joe, what about you?
The first time I like realized I could like play a college sport. You guys ever play like in like big tournaments, like maybe down south or something, and you like
Autumn Gold.
yeah, and like you
Well,
see
that-
like there's
yeah.
like this big name team, and they're like celebrities. Like, oh shoot, they're there. Like
Right.
you got the name. Like so we were playing in it was 13U. We were playing in Kentucky, and I think we lost the first game, but the second game, like I was kind of determined to win, and like that was probably my best game ever. Like I had 3 home runs and pitched a complete game and stuff, and
Oh
like,
my lord.
I just remember like you always talk about those kids like, oh, this kid's here and stuff, but I remember hearing kids behind the dugout, or the kids that would ask kids on my team like, oh, is that Hardenbergh kid in there? And like I remember like, dang, I could really do something with this if I like stick with it. Like
Right.
if I'm excelling right now, like I could really make something of this. And yeah, and of course that wasn't a straight line from that to playing in college. Like there's a lot of, like I'll talk later in the episode, I'm sure, but there's a lot of downfalls and stuff that happened in between that. But that was like the first time like I knew I could have something with baseball.
Right. And this guy also, he's planning the episode for me, which is just awesome. That's a great answer. I think, I mean, there is something to hearing somebody else say your name, like, oh, that kid's like a good baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you've got the rep kind of out there, which is pretty cool. And I heard that not a few times for you in high school, Joey, playing lacrosse together. But was there, same question, I guess, to you?
I mean, yeah, I don't think there was really like a specific moment, which is kind of different than a lot of people I would feel like, but you know, I'm just a really like competitive type of person. That's just kind of my personality. So, I mean, I played a lot of sports when I was younger, and it was just kind of like if I was playing this sport, I would like constantly be comparing myself to other people. Like I want to be better than them, and I guess at some point, I don't know, maybe it was going into high school, I just kind of like evolved a little bit more than like I want to be better than them, but like I want to play in college like at the highest level. And so I don't really think there's a specific moment. It just was kind of something like I expected of myself almost, that like if I'm playing this, like I might as well like see how far I can take it. And that was just like my mindset right away.
Right.
So that's pretty much that.
So, Sarah, you mentioned two things that I'm really happy that you did, and I want to talk about a lot. The first one was obviously the national championship. Congratulations!
Thank you.
To be a champion of anything
Whoa.
is awesome.
Thank you.
Applause. Can we studio audience?
Studio audience.
So, but also you mentioned, you know, a party scene, like,
Yeah.
and you can't really have. I mean, maybe I'm guessing both of those things. Can you talk a little bit about like?
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably the same around for most college athletes, but I feel like at different schools and different teams, I guess your teammates and coaches expect different out of you. I mean, obviously every coach is probably like, don't drink, don't do this, don't do that, but
Right.
you know, kids aren't going to follow that. But in the beginning of our season, they set down all the rules. Our upperclassmen talked to us about everything, and they told us like, you know, it's a dry season, sober season, like you don't drink throughout the fall. And then in the winter you can, but it's like a 48-hour rule. So say we're off on Sundays, we drink, I don't know, Saturday night, and then you have Sunday off, and then you can play Monday. So you basically need a full 24 hours where you're completely fine or not doing anything. Even in the season, like, but our coach would make it, he'd plan games to be like on Friday nights at, let's say, or Sunday nights. Okay, so let's say that. Sunday nights, because Monday was always our off day. So we would play Friday, Sunday, and our games on Sunday would be like 8 p.m. So after that, you know, you're tired to go home, shower. It's like 11 o'clock. And then you're like, is there really a point to even go out and like party or anything just to, or like even when we traveled and stuff, we would come back and it would be like 10 o'clock. It's like there's not even point to go out and like, but yeah. Personally, I'm not even someone who was like, oh yeah, I want to go party.
Right.
Stuff. So
Now,
some people need that, I guess.
Did everyone follow that rule?
Yeah,
Was it easier because everyone followed it?
for sure. It's even in the beginning of the season during the whole rules thing, one of them was you can't post on social media past 11 p.m. or else we all get like in trouble for it. And then
Really?
yeah.
And that's to make sure you're off your phone.
We're all
sleeping.
off our phones, sleeping, just so we get rest for practice or games or whatever. Another one was like, we can't eat unhealthy foods, which I guess is like a basic rule, but during NCAA tournament we went to IHOP one time, and we're like, you know, he's like, you guys can't have syrup with your pancakes. We're like, what are you doing with pancakes?
Right.
So we
Right.
were like, the waitress came over and was like, set down all this syrup, and we were like, we can't have it. Oh my gosh, it was, but, you know, it's all worth it in the end, I feel like.
Right.
And that's more just.
So you were not tempted by saying, hey, this is a normal college experience and I want it both ways?
Yeah,
You were
no.
kind of just,
Yeah.
you want the trophy and,
Yeah.
and that's what matters.
If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I feel like.
And I feel like it's the little things too. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Joey, you and I, so our junior year of high school, we won the state championship, and we made a strong bid for it senior year. But I feel like those 2 years, our coaches, especially in the off season, in the weight room, are like, every little detail, every little thing matters.
Yeah.
You know, nutrition, sleep, working out. And it's kind of those little things that add up, I feel like, that make the difference on the last day of the season.
It is, totally agree. That's how our coach is like very prominent about the little things. We have study tables that are like 4 hours a week, whatever. You have to complete that in that time period, whatever. And if we were like a minute off, it has to be 4 hours. So if it's like 3 hours and 59 minutes, then he gets like, it's like, why would you not just wait the extra minute to do it, you know?
Right.
It's like, what is that? And then he always compares it. It's like, what about 1 minute in a game? Like, would that affect something in the game? It's like, okay, yeah, so you're right. Like, that 1 minute means something.
And you know how, I like to say this, I always say this to my little brother, he gets so upset. But, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think.
It follows.
Yeah.
For sure.
So you would say it's not just a switch.
No.
You know, it's being a national champion, as you are, is like a all-encompassing, it's like a lifestyle, I feel like. I mean, and you guys, you can comment on this too, are both, you know, living that life, like trying to be as successful as possible in your sport. It's not just a switch, I feel like.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know I've tried to like treat it as something that is sometimes like in my head before like a workout or something. If I'm just tired, I'm like thinking, oh, like I'll just take it easy kinda, and like I know I'll be fine for a game, but it's just kind of a thing that like if you really have like a good mindset, even if you try and talk yourself out of it before, you're still gonna go into the workout and you just won't be able to let yourself like take workouts off or slack. It's just kind of a thing that like if you've made to this point, it's just kind of ingrained into like your person.
Right.
So
Right.
at this point, that's just, it's kind of a thing that everyone has if you're playing in college, I feel like.
And Joey brought that to the golf links yesterday. That's something, I mean, it's not something that you turn off being competitive though.
No.
I mean, and you said that you've always been kind of competitive, and even when it comes to the gains chain, you know, the shape of it in the gym, like those little things, you gotta go after it, I feel like, you know. We used to, you know, those run tests, you know, that was just one day of a workout, but you and the other guys would be just sprinting through them to try and get the best time. You know, do you remember that? Like up on the track?
We had
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So, and it's not a little thing, I feel like. But do you ever feel, Sarah, like you're missing out on, you know, the college experience? I mean, Grand Valley, I mean, it's a good school, but it's a pretty fun place to go to school.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not, you know, any Michigan State where they're going to class half drunk, you know, like it's not anything like that. Being even like an athlete, I guess, in anywhere is probably like that as well. But no, I don't really mind it. Even in the winter season, since we don't have a sober season in the winter because it's just our off season, which is where we're like lifting and doing tests and stuff. But in the winter, sometimes I'll go down to Michigan State, see my friends, and that time. But
Even after seeing that, you're never like.
I don't. Even when I come back from a weekend at state, I'm like, nope, never again. Yeah.
And see, I'm prodding her because I'm trying to get her, but she doesn't. And that's the thing. That's the thing I think about. You know, you see people who are successful in anything. Like it comes along with a certain single-mindedness.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, with everybody that I've talked to so far, like it's the one thing in mind. I remember, and I keep talking about this, but you know, for lacrosse back in the day, like we had the day of the state championship circled on our calendar, the first fall lift in September, because it's that kind of a chase. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So, but that's exciting in its own way, and I feel like people who maybe haven't experienced it wouldn't understand it 100%. But I mean, talk about like the moment that like you guys won, and you like lift, you get the trophy, you lift the trophy.
No, I don't even know. You know, when Gianna scored, I was on the sideline, and you like everything is just like. You're like, what? Like, there's no way. You, like, stop for a second, you, like, black out, and you're like, there's no way that just happened. Because the whole entire game, it was, like, back and forth. The first half, it was pretty much, like, their game, you know? Like, we were all, like...
They had us in the first half.
Yeah, they literally had us in the first half. They literally had us, yeah. And we were like, oh, gosh, like, I don't know, but it was a fight the whole entire game. And then it was double overtime too with like 2 minutes left or something like that, and it was just so close. And just getting that and not having to go to PKs to make it 50-50 was just, it was incredible. You all get on the bus after, and then our coach is like, all right, like he didn't even have to stay after the game, honestly.
Right.
He was like, everyone was just like, what the hell just happened? But he takes us to the bar, everyone has fun.
Yeah. But it's one night of fun after months of.
Oh my gosh, it is the most rewarding feeling I've ever, and kind of back to what you said earlier about like, the grind, I guess. It's more like that's what you look, Maddie. That's what you like look forward to. Like each and every day, I'm like, I just want to have that same exact feeling of winning that national championship again, and ultimately that's what it is.
Right. So that was. Would you say that like, kind of rephrase our opening question, was the best moment you've had in sports? Was amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible. And even when I talked to my coach about it, he's like, "You're like, it was my freshman year. Like we're not even I mean, we're close to the team obviously, but it's not like I've been here for 4 years now, and it's like that last moment or the last time in my college career where I've been with these teammates for 4 years, lived with them, whatever, and we even felt in that moment so close. But my coach was like, you don't even know half of it, so."
Right. So you're looking forward.
Looking forward to
repeat.
Right. Yeah.
So, how soon after? And this is again the thing. Like, I think about this, sometimes in thinking like, yes, you held that trophy, you won it, but, such a small like moment, it doesn't always, in my opinion, like equal in terms of time.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that like the grind is something that you like enjoy, or you just put up with for that one moment at the end? And this is a question that's going to go to you guys too. I am interested in what you have to say.
I'd say both maybe. I'd say, I don't know, I enjoy it. Like, I literally like working out just because I like feeling good after the workout, even though, in the midst of it sucks. But, yeah, I mean, I think every time you work out, it's always like the end goal is always that. Like, that is the overall goal, but like during that time period, it's like one small thing at a time. Like, if I were to just go to practice and be like, whatever, like I don't want to be here, I have a huge test tomorrow, it's like, all right, you just wasted 2.5 hours, Like,
right.
I'm going to put in and then forget everything else and then after go do it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'd say both, a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I think you have to enjoy the grind, like somewhat. Like she said, like if you're gonna go to practice and like half-ass it the whole time and like just like just like go through the motions. That's like coaches always use that, go through the motions. Like you're not gonna end up being on top because like you need to enjoy it somewhat, and even like in the middle of a workout, it might suck sometimes, but like you gotta enjoy getting after it and continuing that, and then you have that ultimate goal in mind of eventually getting to the championship.
Jody?
I think really it's just kind of a day-to-day thing. Like some days you're going to go to practice and you're just really not going to want to be there. Like whether it be you're kind of angry about something that happened in school or just like your personal life. But it's like it could be the same either way. Like you could come into a practice and just have great energy and like be thinking way far in advance and just like have a great mindset and grind through the day. It just kind of depends how you're feeling. I mean, I think that even if you're like not enjoying it that day, you're still gonna really try. Like you're not gonna just go out there and not try and not enjoy it, because that's just kind of like it just adds on and makes it even worse. And like another thing that I think is really important is your teammates, like because their mindset coming into practice can really change how you're feeling about the day. Because sometimes I just don't want to do anything, but I'll come in and some of the kids on the team will be having a good time in the locker room and saying like they're getting ready for the grind today, and it just kind of like fills you with some energy that you didn't have, and it really helps you to get through the day. So I mean, it's just a day-to-day thing, and it always helps when your teammates kind of have a good mindset. It just kind of rubs off on you, so that's a big help.
And I mean, back in the day, when we were playing, I mean, 6-on-6 in practice was almost, I mean, this guy you couldn't tell the difference sometimes, I feel like, you know? And if you're, I do want to talk about this more, but just like we would play and you know, you'd make a good play, a bad play, whatever. I mean, you were one of the captains last year, you knew, or me as a player would know that, hey, like if I did something good, Julie would be like, all right, good. But if I, you know, drop a ball, you know, miss a shot, something, like, you're going to hold somebody accountable. And I mean, we're talking, I know for a fact that our friend Ryan Sullivan is going to be listening to this. Shout out Sully.
I was just gonna say shout out.
Yeah, but he we've already talked about this podcast, but and he was a guy too that, I mean, an incredible example of work ethic, and I just remember the three of us like that. I still think about that when I'm like doing a group project or when I'm studying, because part of that, like, you have to be doing it for yourself, you have to be doing it for your own, but you have to be doing it for the other guys too, you know, down the line. So I did want to talk about culture a lot, because I mean, winning a championship, Sarah, like you already mentioned, it was easier to do because everybody there is following the rules.
Yeah.
You know, and culture comes from the top down, I feel like.
Yeah.
So was it easier to lean on people? You know, I mean, they said it. You heard it here first. Like, these three are super successful, but there are days when they're, you know, lower energy. So would that make it easier?
I think, yeah, just like Joey said, I think for sure, like, if you're not having a great day at training, or you're not focused to even be there right now, I think that your teammates their energy is something that carries on throughout the whole entire group and the team. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, too, at the end of our junior year, I mean, there's nothing like going through that process with a group of individuals.
Yeah.
It brings you close in a really unique way.
Yeah.
And I know, Joe, you were a captain of the baseball team your senior year. Can you talk about trying to, like, maybe instill that culture for everybody or for a younger group?
Yeah. So obviously, like, we didn't have like the track record of state championships. I didn't win a state championship, and we, like, our baseball team at CC, commonly, I think in my 4 years we lost in districts like every year, or the first 3, and by the start of the 4th year, we all talked. We had unities before the year. We just had this mindset like, why is it like this? Why are we losing in districts every year? And a lot of it is chemistry within the team. Like, you don't want to have any separation between older guys, younger guys. A lot of it's accountability too. Making sure like you're giving it your all every single rep. You're not like just like joking off all the time. Like, you need to be focused sometimes in practice. Like, obviously you can have fun and stuff, but when it gets time to work, you know, you got to put your foot on the gas and get to work. So yeah, we ended up, I think it was regional. We lost in regional this year, but we won more games than we usually do in the playoffs. And that, like, although we didn't win the state championship, that was just like a good feeling just to get farther than we usually do. Because it's a slow progress or process. You're not gonna just, I mean, you can change it within 1 year, but that's all. Our whole thing was just changing the culture of CC baseball, because before that it was just year in, year out. You're losing, doesn't matter. Next year, I mean, we've always had good talent, just putting that to good use.
So you talk about accountability. Was it easy or hard for you to say, you know, to some of your peers, you know, like, dial it in? How do you do that? Is there a balance between being harsh and understanding? Like, do you look at it different per player, or how do you lead like that?
Before last, like, I had always been a more, I guess, reserved person, and once you become into a leadership role, you gotta, like, can't be all nicey nice all the time. You gotta put your foot down. And I learned a lot of this from Hillsdale. Like, we had a couple early losses, and our whole thing was like, you're not supposed to be a dick, but you gotta, when it like comes time to like getting what you want out of the team, like, you gotta hold each other accountable, and yeah, just call people out if they're not finishing their reps, or if they're not giving it their all and stuff. Yeah.
What's your philosophy on that? I'm interested. Have you thought about it a lot, or do you just kind of fly by it?
What, culture in general?
I mean, just being a leader. Like, I mean, you didn't really embrace the soft side much
if I may say.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that, but, you know, when I was playing, like, the only time I ever played with my brother was sophomore.
I was
on the
gonna
team.
ask, yeah.
So he was, as a captain, like, there were some days where I just did not agree with how he was handling things, and I kind of
Talk about a focus guy.
Yeah, I voiced my opinion a little bit, and it was like, it was a little bit misplaced. I was a sophomore, but it kind of made it not as bad because I was his brother, but still, it's, like, I wasn't about the leadership role. I was kind of just there, like, to win. I was there to play, like, and perform, and I didn't really care about kind of, like, trying to lead the team or, like,
Right.
you know, like the saying, like, great players, like, make players around you better when you're out there. And that was just kind of a struggle going into the senior year, because, like, at that point you're kind of forced to take a leadership role, and at first I was pretty nervous about it, because I was like, that just wasn't my personality. I knew myself enough to figure that out, and, you know, it was a learning. It was a big learning process, because, you know, we started off kind of slow. I didn't really know, like, what the state of the team would be. We had lost, like, quite a few guys coming off that state championship, but that was a really unique team. Like, that was a unique year that we had, because we were just not the best early on in the season. You know,
We had a long way to go.
Yeah, like, a long way to go. You could see that there was just not a lot of, like, there wasn't really a leadership presence. We had, like, a lot of underclassmen speaking out against seniors and stuff that it just shouldn't happen, and we were losing big games, like, to Brother Rice by,
We lost that first one.
yeah, like, nearly double-digit goals.
Yeah.
It might have been, honestly, but to pull a team like that together, to, like, only lose by one on a last-second goal against that same team that beat you by double digits, like, to start the year, is just, it really just shows, like, how much the team had to grow, and how much, like, the leaders on the team had to get everyone and bring everyone together. And that was just kind of like, that was a really big, like, growing experience for me. Just, you know, trying to lead. It's like a completely different mindset going into every game. Like, because I was super focused, like, on how I performed for the longest time, and I had to switch everything around to going into a game and thinking, like, strictly with the team, and, like, how can we win this game? Like, what do we need to do as a team to make this happen? And it helped me a lot, and it was tough to do, but it just made everyone else better, I think.
I agree. I mean, and there were times, you remember, I think it was maybe, first round of Catholic Leagues when U of D, they doubled you and then had a quick slide, and then it was basically we were playing, like, 5-on-4 the whole game. And you just stood behind the net.
That was frustrating.
That's tough.
To say the least.
But, I mean, we won by a good amount still, you know, and they might have shut you down, but other guys, I think Zeta had a good amount of goals that game. But, I mean, we both got to see junior year, I think, one of the best leaders that I've ever played with in sports. I mean, playing under Peter was, and me being, like, kind of his backup a little bit, I learned a lot from that. I mean, he was a guy that I feel like the energy was unbelievable, and the passion shows through. You can't fake leadership. Like, you have to, you know, you kind of funnel that passion. So back to the national champion. I can't stop talking about that, but being a younger person on a team like that, I mean, what did you look for in the upperclassmen and the captains and seniors?
Like you said, energy. I think that's a big thing that carries on throughout the group. You know, someone who gets everyone, like, rah-rah, like, let's go, when everyone's like, you know, kind of just another practice, I don't know, something, everyone's just not feeling it that day or whatever, it gets it going. Or even in, like, a games, or someone scores, and, like, the energy on the sideline, or the energy on the field, and how everyone reacts to a play, or I don't know, someone slide tackles. It's like, our coach always tells us, like, someone slide tackles, or someone wins the ball, or our goalie makes a great save, like, you need to, like, get going, because even the other team will feel that energy that you guys have and kind of be like, oh shit, you know, like,
it's
they're
here,
here,
It's not just I mean, a lot of it's between the ears too, I think. And I mean, I'm gonna give this to you, Joey. You guys this year at Loyola were, you know, in the conversation to win, right? The whole thing. And how did you perceive that, like, kind of pressure and then the intangibles as well, like certain things like energy that we keep coming back to. I mean, was it something that you could feel, or?
Yeah, I'd say so, definitely. I mean, I'm sure it's the same for Sarah and for Joe, but like coming in, I didn't know what to expect. Like I knew what I was like coming in to play with, but you didn't really know what it was like to go through a practice. You didn't know what it was like to play a game at that level, and so like the team, there was like one of the best lacrosse players I think I've ever seen went to Loyola, and he left, and I kind of ended up like playing in the spot where he was at, not necessarily at all replacing him. I wouldn't go that far, but
right. To fill those shoes.
Yeah, that's just like, so the team had lost like a lot of players and like that they leaned on really heavily in the year previous, but like just coming in, you could tell that although the team was very skilled, that you were just going to need a lot of energy and like teamwork, and people were going to need to build each other up, and you weren't going to be able to win like multiple games against top ranked teams just with like single players like going out and scoring like 7 goals, because you just didn't have that.
Right.
And like I think we were just like, it was instilled in us pretty early that we needed to play as a team and really have a solid chemistry going if we wanted to make it far and possibly win it all.
Right.
And I mean, the season obviously didn't
Cut
really
short, yeah.
didn't really finish. It was cut short, which was pretty unfortunate, but I feel like we're on a pretty good track to make that happen.
Yeah. And you told me, I don't want you to repeat this if you would, but just this fantastic story about your first scrimmage against Nova, when you caught the ball and like, what was going through your mind? Just for everyone, like, I mean, you started that game, and it was the first scrimmage of the season.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what was that like?
I mean, so we started, and like practice is always fast paced, it's gonna be like you're gonna be working hard every day, but when you get to the game you don't realize it. It's just a completely different speed. And so I'm sitting out there, and I look over to this guy next to me, he's just like 6'5".
Alright. So we're back. Sorry for the delay. Yeah, it happens. I don't know what to say. Probably gonna edit this out. Maybe not. Joey, just to refresh everyone's memory, can you start at the beginning of the story of your first scrimmage?
Of course. So it was just starting against Villanova, and there was just a really big defender next to me, and he was pretty intimidating to say the least. But so we won the opening face-off, and I would just remember thinking, I hope the ball does not come towards me for a couple minutes so I can just get comfortable. But sure enough, it came right towards me, and I had to just run in there and pick it up. And I remember just felt like I was flying out of like the pile of guys, and like I felt
So you
like
picked up the ground ball out of the crowd.
Yeah, I picked up the ground ball immediately, and I just felt like I was out of breath already. And I was like, I'm not built for this. This isn't for me.
Yeah.
But it took me a little bit to calm down, but that was just like a wild start to the scrimmage, I'd say.
Yeah, that is crazy. But you ended up making your way through the season and working yourself into a pretty legitimate role on the team. And there was one game when you actually played your brother in Rutgers. Brennan, I know you're listening, and I have to have him tell this story. So can you take me through that game and what kind of happened there?
Yeah.
It's a happy ending.
I mean, I knew that was going to be a really fun game just because I had a lot of family members coming out from all over, and I hadn't seen my brother in a decent amount of time because I just didn't have any time to get over to Rutgers because it's in season. You only get like basically a day and a half of free time during the week. But so he told all the players, and because they scout the teams, like everyone on my team knew that my brother was on their team, and everyone on their team knew I was on Loyola. So like immediately when they're coming out of the stands, and the freshmen are at the back of the stretching line, so I'm like kind of right near them when they're running behind me, and they're just all like yelling my name, and I was just like, I think you're already in my head. Like I was intimidated right off the start. But yeah, just to start the game, it was pretty fun, like fast-paced game, and I hadn't scored yet during the season. I think that was like our third game maybe, and I was just kind of in a slump. I wasn't like I could not put my shots in the net, and like everyone was joking around like during the week, oh, what if you go against your brother or something? What if you score on him? And I was just thinking to myself, I hope that doesn't happen, because if he like just bodies me up or something like that, I would be very embarrassed about it. But so sure enough, I mean, he got matched up on me towards I think the second quarter maybe, and like right when he came out to play me, like I knew like that I was just gonna take everyone a second to realize what was happening, but then everyone on the bench just started going crazy because they knew that it was just like a weird situation, and I ended up scoring on him.
First goal of the year.
First goal ever in college. My brother was
first
going
NCAA.
I mean, I felt bad.
Brutal.
Like also, I was like, "Come on, man, let me get a goal. I haven't had one yet." But, so
did you say anything to him, or no? Was it pretty professional? Did you guys?
I just like he looked pretty pissed because it was like the start of the game. We went up like 4-0, and he was walking by to go back to his bench, and I like walked by, and I was like, "That was pretty good defense." Actually, I don't know. I had to say something. I didn't want it to be awkward, but. He ended up having a pretty good game. I think he had like 2 goals or something, and he had some nice plays on defense. But it was just one time they had the players switched up a little bit because they weren't winning too many faceoffs, so that they had a midfielder down guarding attackman, and so he was like down right next to me to start before faceoff. So we had like 30 seconds just to talk to each other like right next to each other, and. Like, it was not serious whatsoever. Like, you'd think he'd be a little bit, like, serious into the game, but we were just messing around for, like, 30 seconds straight, smiling, laughing in the middle of this big game. That was, like, a 2-goal game at the time, and, you know, I feel like that was just kind of, like, a cool moment. Just, like, something as serious as a college sports game could be, like, could seem like it's not even a big deal when you're just hanging with, like, I was just hanging with my brother. It was like something really cool.
That is cool. Yeah. That is cool. And now, how did that game end?
That game ended with we ended up winning that game.
Okay.
I won. I would rather not go into detail about how we won.
Yeah.
But we won.
That's a good game though. That's a good story.
So.
Yeah. Shout out Brendan. Hopefully he listens. You think he'll listen?
I think he will.
Yeah.
I'll tell him too if he doesn't know about it.
Tell him there's some golf tips on here. Share out that swing.
He needs that after yesterday.
Oh, sorry, Brendan. He can definitely beat me up. So that's just how it is. That's just how it is. So, Joe, I want to talk a little bit about your journey because I feel like, I mean, this is something that I've been privileged to watch over the years. You know, Joe and I, OLB Cougar, we've been friends. Were we in the same kindergarten?
Yeah, Gary.
No. So,
Okay.
Okay, so we knew each other when we were 6, and we developed into good friends. So you have had quite the history just with you know your whole sports career, baseball primarily, and you've had a few injuries, and there have been a lot of good times, and there have been some rough stretches. So would you mind just taking everyone through your journey a little bit and talking about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to this, so I'm not gonna like go into detail about everything. But so I guess it starts. So we played JV basketball together actually, and midway through that season, my wrist started hurting a little bit. Before this, I had never broken a bone. Well, actually, I had broken one, but besides that,
At this time, you were ranked what, like max preps?
I just got ranked like the number 8 player in the state stuff, and number 1 outfielder.
Yeah,
and
number 1 outfielder.
I was pretty like pumped about that, and so sophomore season, I'm still playing basketball. Midway through the season, my wrist starts hurting a little bit. Didn't think much of it. Kept playing. I also wanted to make varsity baseball because I was a sophomore, and I was like really looking forward to that. And so finished the basketball season, started hurting a little more by the end, but I'm like, oh, I'm all right. I ended up making varsity, and that was like a huge step for me because like you got a lot of street cred your sophomore in varsity, and I guess I kind of used that as like I liked having like my reputation be all these sweet baseball players and stuff. But we played 2 games. I played pretty well in those 2 games. I had a couple triples, a couple singles, and we had a doubleheader against Rice on the Saturday, and then my mom and I were like, oh, let's just get it checked out. So we went on the Friday before, not thinking much of it, went in. I got an x-ray, and the guy brings it back in, and he's like, yeah, you got a broken bone. And we're like, oh, I like usually wrist bones, you think like, oh, 4 to 6 weeks, and he's like, no, 4 to 6 months. And we're like, what? And it was the scaphoid bone. I had to have surgery for it, but it's like the slowest healing bone in the body, so it took 4 to 6 months. Ended up missing all of that season, even the summer season. Had like full arm cast.
And that's big for recruiting, right?
Yeah, so that was like sophomore year. I would say the junior year summer is like the biggest window, and I'll get to that in a second. But sophomore year is also pretty big, and I lost all that. And so I don't know if you guys know what atrophy is. Like when you get a cast on, your muscles get a lot smaller. And yeah, I get this cast off. I think it was mid-August. Like I was so pumped to like get swinging and throwing again. And but I had atrophy, and that wasn't just in my wrist, like my whole arm, my shoulder, my labrum and stuff. Like so I started throwing, doing long toss really fast, and then I started just messed up my arm. Stupid of me, like if I were to like go talk to myself again, it'd just be like take it slow, make sure you get strong again before getting back into it. But then yeah, so my arm was really bothering me that whole off season, and I had always like pitching I loved, and I was thinking I was going to pitch my junior year, like because I would always want to be like a two-way player. I could pitch and play outfield in college, and so I had to give that up because I thought it was going to be good by the season. It never was. I got like 2 cortisone shots. They both wore off. Like one worked for like 2 weeks, and then I like chucked one at practice one day and it just wore off. And it's like throbbing pain every single time. So yeah, I was looking toward really for this junior season. Like this was like huge. Like I said, this is huge for recruiting and stuff. And like Sarah said, like D1 had always been my hopes. Naval Academy, and then
yeah, I remember that.
Ivy League school.
They called you and stuff.
Yeah, that was like my dream and stuff. But junior season like started off worse. If I were to like before then say like the worst thing that could have happened, like that's what happened was my arm was bothering me, and I struck out probably like 10 out of my like first 13 times. Like I was awful. I couldn't even I like made some like mechanical changes in my swing, but even then like I sucked. It was like the worst stretch of my life. Coaches lost confidence in me, and I lost confidence in myself. Like by the middle of that season, I was like not even playing, and I was like supposed to be like this big like huge contributing factor and stuff, and I like wasn't even starting anymore. And I like at one point I was like, well, I want to play college baseball so bad, but like I don't even know if I want to play anymore. Like I'm not enjoying the sport and stuff, and it was just a weird time. That was like only one other thing. Like I had a lot of other stuff going on, and I was just like not happy at the time. And so high school season ends. We lost the districts. I didn't even play because I was not performing. And got to summer, and I was playing with my coach. I played for a long time, and he just told me, I don't care how you play, I'm going to put you out there. I trust in you that you're going to get back into it. And of course my arm's still bothering me, but I was like confident. Like he gave me a lot of confidence. And first game of the season, we played against a couple, dude going to Michigan State, and I had like single off him. And I started doing really well in the summer, like really getting back into it. And I'm like, this is happening. Like, and to like think, I put so much pressure on myself too, because like, you don't know, that summer like is determining where you're going to school pretty much. Like I kept thinking like, oh, this camp or something I'm going to, like if I play well, like I could go to this state. Like it was determining where my future is ending up, and that like put so much pressure on me. So I had at the end of the summer I had a camp that had like all these Ivy League schools, and then the Naval Academy camp was the week after that. And so we're playing in Grand Park. It's a big tournament place in Indiana. And first game, I hit a shot over left fielder, rounding first, and I feel something like hurt really bad, like one of the worst pains of my life, like bit me in the back of the leg, and I like like crawled back to the bag, and like I had to have my like friends like carry me off the field and stuff, and I had pulled my hamstring like really bad. It was bruised all over the back and stuff. So yeah, I had to cancel that camp. Like, oh, I was looking. That was like.
Yeah, that was it. That was gonna be it. I mean, that was the plan.
I had to cancel that.
That was the plan.
Didn't play for a couple weeks, but the Naval Academy camp was still good. It was 2 weeks away, and I talked to like our trainer at Legacy, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna be good to go." The thing with, I don't know if you guys ever pulled your hamstring, like it's not like it's not about like stretching it. Like it's most of it's just rest because it's so easy to re-aggravate it and stuff. And so like 1 week went by and I was like, it's feeling a little bit better. And then the days went down 4, 3, 2, like, and then 1 day away. It was like, there's still like a little bit of uncomfortableness, but I was like, my mom was like, you just gotta go, like this is your last shot. So, we like emailed the coach and we're like, well, I'm not gonna be able to run the whole camp, but I can go and
throw and hit.
Yeah, although my throwing's like, yeah, I get the throbbing pain every single time. So yeah, I'm like once I was like this like 5-tool player, I got all like speed and power and stuff, and now like I literally can't throw anymore, I don't even pitch anymore, can't run anymore. So now I'm just hitting at the camp. And it turned out I did really well. Like I had this like kid run for me, but I was like I hit a couple balls off the wall and stuff in like our live games, and I did really well. Coach actually talked to me after, he's like asking me like about the whole recruiting and like to email him and stuff. So I guess that went as well as it could have. And also during the summer season, my Cody Kanklers, he's plays at Hillsdale. He had committed already, and the Hillsdale coaches had watched a lot of our games, and I had been talking to them too. And like you said, like I originally didn't think much of it, but I went on a visit in August, and right off the bat they offered me, and like they're two Tysons. The head coach was Eric Tyson, and then his dad's a pitching coach. And I went around there, and I kind of felt at home actually. Like I didn't think much of it going into it, but like I felt at home. I got offered, and I'm like, okay, well actually that seems like pretty like enticing. Like I was very interested in going there, and so yeah, I ended up committing in September, and like we talked about earlier, the whole high school season, I stepped it up my senior season, became captain and stuff, and it went pretty well. And then yeah, so then I was pretty much healthy. Well, I did end up having to have a procedure done on my arm in September to like put like stem cells from my hip into my arm.
Just one after another.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
So I like never got to pitch again, and my throwing mechanics are a little messed up than they used to be. But a lot of like the motto, like we've talked about like David Goggins stuff.
I was gonna ask you that. That's in my notes.
That just like you can feel sorry for yourself for
the
like,
poopy pants mentality.
Yeah.
I was literally that was my next question.
You get so many people. Poopy pants.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's so
just,
basically there's this guy. I would recommend listening to him. He's been on Joe Rogan's podcast, which is like another podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it. I mean, we have this one, but he's kind of different, I guess.
Yeah.
And David Goggins wrote this book, Can't Hurt Me, and I read it, Joe's recommendation last summer, and it like changed the way I looked at a lot of things because he's gone through so much. And he has, you know, like I said, 2 podcast episodes that talk hours about it. He's a book that talks all about it, so I can't cover it, but he basically said that throughout his life, and he's 3 Navy SEAL training camps.
Yeah, the only guy one of the only African Americans to ever go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like 300 pounds at one point.
Yeah, and
cut all the
weight. Yeah.
Comes from poverty, abusive family, and he just had the mindset, like, what I took from it was the mindset of like being sorry for yourself. You can get so many people to like, oh, I feel so bad for you, and you can wallow in that. And people do that like their whole lives. Like you can do it with anything, like stuff bad that's happened to you. You can wallow in being sorry for yourself and stuff, and like that's just not going to do any. Like you can sit in that for the rest of your life and be like that, or you can have the mindset that oh, I'm gonna screw that. I'm gonna put that behind me and just start digging, getting after it. And yeah, it's like my whole thing with my arm. Like, yeah, that's kind of held me back. Yeah, didn't have don't have like the velocity I used to, but I just put that behind me, and I like am confident now. Like, yeah, I feel sorry for myself every once in a while, but just having that mindset that I've already been through this much, and I'm not gonna like quit on myself now. And yeah, take action and control your life. And
That's awesome. Now, can you take us through a little bit what your first season was like at Hillsdale?
yeah, so along with the injury thing, so I'd finally been healthy for a while. Whole fall I was pretty healthy. A week before the season, some guys asked to go ice skating, and I agreed to go with them. I haven't done it since I was 13, but some other guys haven't either. I was like, I'll be fine. I go, I get the hang of it by the end, and then I, being stupid, and I turned around too fast, fell on it, hurt my ankle pretty bad, and I thought it was going to be worse, but I'm like, I'm going to practice tomorrow. I can't let this happen. Like, I've been so close to like playing and doing all this I wanted. I can't let this happen. And then I wake up the next morning and I get off my bed and I just like can barely walk. And I was so pissed at myself. My parents were pissed at me too. Like, I was like in such a weird place because I thought like I'd been through so much, and I'm finally getting here. I can actually play. I've decided to play in college, and now I'm getting hurt again, being stupid. So I told my coach, and I said I was gonna be fine by the next week. I didn't play the first week, and my coach came to me with the idea to redshirt, and I wanted to contribute this year, and it's just like the whole ankle thing. It just like put me behind, and like I just screwed over the whole season. But I told him I want to play this year. I think I can contribute. So he says, all right, be ready to play next weekend. And we were playing Dollar Mine, one of the top D2 teams in the country. And my ankle's still hurting. I mean, it's pretty uncomfortable, but I got an ankle brace and taking a bunch of Motrin before the game.
You're a big Motrin guy.
Yeah,
actually.
I've been living off that stuff. Same with physical therapy, yeah. But
Love that.
so I'm starting
That's what you gotta do.
starting center field, batting 9. First at bat, I know he's not going to think much. He's going to think I'm a scrub. So throws a fastball right down the middle, drill double to right center. Felt pretty good just to get first college hit out of the way. And a couple innings went by. They're a really good team. Have a couple the MLB drafts actually tonight, but they got a couple guys that could potentially get picked. So we come to the 7th inning, last inning, top of the 7th. Kid hits on their team, it's a bomb, so we're down 4-3. I'm sitting in the batter's box. I was like second up in the inning, and going back on like all the stuff I've ever heard, like injuries and stuff I've been through. I was sitting in the box, and for the first time ever, you always, I don't know if you guys like, if there's ever like a dream moment you have, like, oh, if I wish I could hit a home run here and like win the game and stuff. And like whenever I think that in my head, it never happens, because like life doesn't happen like a movie, you know that. Like, but I've sat in the box, and I'm like, everything I do from now on is I have to earn it. I'm not gonna get a hit here if I'm like wishing and hoping, and like just that mentality that I hope to. Like I need to take control and stuff. And yeah, going back to like everything, all the injuries and stuff. Like I gotta prove my worth here, especially with like me telling the coach I feel like I contribute. So I go up. We got a guy first. I think he walked, and first pitch I saw, I don't even remember. I was like in a different consciousness, but first pitch I saw, I just drilled it, kept rising, left center, and went over the fence. Crowd erupts. I'm sprinting around the bases. I didn't even slow down. Like I was like screaming, probably a couple let's go, running around third, and everybody's going crazy. And like that's when I like felt like I belonged. And then we ended up winning the game. So that like that was just like a huge mountain I had to surmount. Just like my first college game, that felt so good. And yeah, so then I continued that. I got a nice role to start my freshman season. And although it ended shortly, like I'm happy how it ended. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But yeah, through all that, like I said earlier, I had to reframe my mindset of feeling sorry for myself, because that, with anything in life, just doesn't get you anywhere. You need to put your first step forward and take control.
And you would say you're a better person, for all that that you went through.
Like, not even just baseball, like I felt like that helped me develop so much like leadership quality, and like even like stuff outside of baseball, friends going through something tough or something like that has given me perspective. Like I can relate to a lot of stuff. Just like the whole mental thing I went through all this, like just my whole future I planned out didn't go like as perfect as I wanted it, but in the end it turned out right. Like everybody says, like everything happens for a reason, and I know that happened for a reason. All that stuff happened for a reason, and it's made me a better person because of it.
Yeah. I mean, if that story doesn't get you going, nothing will. The go-ahead homer, 3 injuries coming up, Hillsdale.
Yeah, that's probably a top 3 moment in my baseball career, maybe top.
Yeah, I mean that's why you play sports. I feel like it can teach you so much. When you first told me that story, I was thinking like that's like the miracle on ice moment, like where you're just everyone's just going crazy, like oh man. I'll see if I can stitch that video clip in, because I want everyone to see that. Like, people will see the home run and they'll see, you rounding the bases, and you played a decent amount after that, right?
Yeah, I think I started every game after that.
Yeah, so you earned your place, and maybe people at Hillsdale say, oh, like this freshman, they gave him a chance, he got a hit, nice, and now he's in the rotation. But that's just like so small compared to everything else that happened that you just took us through over like literally a span of years. And we played sports for a long time growing up, and I remember certain days like what was it, after some St. Mary's game, Joe always sat behind me in Latin class, and where something happened and you were just so down on yourself. And do you remember that day?
There was a lot of those days.
Yeah,
too.
but all right. I don't mean to rip on you, but like no one sees that. Nobody sees that. And I feel like there's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacks who might say, oh, like it's just the hit, like it's just whatever, but it's not. It's the whole process, and I think that's really cool. That's just, I'm going to say this a lot on the show, but that's why I love talking to you guys about this kind of thing, and people who have done cool stuff like that in general. Because if, there's a kid out there who's listening to this, or anybody our age, older, younger, who wants to like take that next step, like it's not just that dream moment chance that happens. There's a lot that went into that one swing, I feel like. So that's why I wanted to take a chunk of time to talk about that, because I was yelling for like 5 minutes in the car when I first heard that story. If anybody was near us, they definitely heard me, because it's so epic. But I wanted to kind of switch the conversation. First of all, we just talked about Miracle on Ice. I want to get TV recommendations from you guys, like All-American, sports TV
All-American.
shows.
All right.
No, say it. Say it.
All-American's really good.
You a fan?
Yeah, it is
We're
really
just
good.
sitting up.
I know.
It's live studio audience. You're a fan? You would recommend?
Love it.
Man, it's
Love
so
it. Me and my dad watched it. We finished it in like a week, and there's like a season, I think. 24
2
episodes.
seasons.
2 seasons, 45 minutes. What, like 16 hours of my life watching that show? I definitely recommend it. It's motivational.
It is.
It was motivational. How about Outer Banks? That's the
So
thing.
I
I was just
started
talking
that.
last night. I was
Watching
talking.
that.
I started the first episode.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a big TV watcher though.
Lame.
I'd rather be on my phone. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
There's so much
Are you
about
TikTok?
Hardenbergh, though.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's what I. That's what.
100%.
I just can't sit down and focus on like the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you watch movies?
Uh,
Really? That's it. You just.
Yeah.
You prefer the 8
I
second
just can't
video?
sit still. I'm not someone who can just sit down and sit at a screen for 2 hours.
I feel like it's such a huge time commitment too. Like,
It is.
especially if there's like 10 seasons and you gotta watch through like
Yeah.
50. I don't
Breaking
know. It's
Bad.
just like a month.
Are you
Breaking
still in it?
Bad.
So good.
You
No, I
finished
finished
it?
it.
I
You
finished
finished it in like a week.
I'm not a student athlete. I have so much time in my hands.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know if I like the ending though.
No.
TBH. I just want to know what happens
So
with
you're a big, you like
I love,
Narcos.
huh?
You like Narcos, right?
No.
That was no. I thought that was your. I thought that was your
bad.
thing. That's your favorite show.
Out of all the shows I've watched on Netflix, Breaking Bad is probably.
Well, you're also like chemical. What is your major? Oh, by the way, these are 3 also extremely intelligent individuals. We don't talk about that, but and our live studio audience is really smart. Maddie's gonna be a dentist.
At 37%, I can test.
That's-
It was open.
This
no.
is a live mic.
I don't care like I did.
But yeah, then we're gonna talk about school in a minute. But I mean, if you're into that chemistry, you know.
And like, I'm not the chemical engineer. That's somebody else we know. But I mean, like, I do. I mean, I'm majoring in engineering, so I'm pretty interested in like all that stuff. I've always liked math a little more than
Math or math.
Math.
He goes math.
Funny.
I say math.
That's not the point of a live studio
Breaking
audience.
Bad.
You're supposed to laugh. You laugh when I tell you. It's brutal.
Math.
That's brutal.
Not
Math.
me, not
Mathematics.
Mathematics I've enjoyed
Mathematics.
more than the normal person would. I'd
That's
say.
true.
I would say for sure.
Yeah.
Most people hate mathematics. But yeah, I
I'm
mean,
no math guy.
I love math.
These are my friends. This is the one I lent you, right?
Yep.
Did you write me a little note in it, or
Did I? I can't remember.
that would be cute though?
I'm a real fan. That was like my mom's like favorite book too, so I
It's
knew
one of
it.
my favorites.
Yeah, my mom.
This is your personal legend, dude.
Yeah.
Your personal legend was that home run. Read The Alchemist. Anyway, Sarah, what are you majoring in?
Education.
Really?
Yeah.
I assume.
Math.
Yeah, girl.
Mathematics.
Mathematics. Yeah. Yeah.
So is that you want to teach?
Yeah.
That's cool. I have a lot of
Older
teachers in
though,
my
not
family.
younger because they're too much.
Oh, you don't want little kids.
I mean, no, I love them, but like in a classroom setting, they just don't care.
Right.
Why do I want to
Sure
teach
don't.
little kids who are just like don't care?
Yeah.
Like what is the second?
What if I
grade
said I
gonna
want to
do?
be a kindergarten teacher?
I mean, go for it. But I'm not your babysitter.
Oh, brutal. Okay, so what? Wow, that energy. What age group are we thinking?
Like high school?
Yeah.
Like
high school.
algebra.
You already want to
Like
go back.
basic
You're out for 1 year of high school and you're already.
Algebra.
I want to go.
Well, I don't know about that, but yeah.
All right, that's cool.
Basic algebra, like basic. Yeah.
That's.
That would be.
She said 1
like
plus
first
1.
grade.
arithmetic, right?
Whatever, you guys.
Yeah. I mean, what? I mean, is that even an area of arithmetic? Is that?
Probably. Like
It's
addition.
like babysitting stuff. That's
That's
babysitting
addition.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to babysit you. And Joe, you're studying psychology, correct?
I might do that as a minor. I'm probably gonna do biochem or chemistry as my, because we don't have pre-med, but I want to go like medical route and yeah, I don't know about that.
God.
You're in chem.
Yeah, it's already said you to me.
Oh,
She's got 37.
Thank you for bringing that up again.
Half of the 50.
let's keep bringing that up.
But yeah,
Studio.
something in the medical route and maybe in the mental health field or I don't know. I've been thinking maybe veterinary, I like animals, and possibly doing a couple years military too. We'll see.
Wow.
Interesting.
Big
Yeah.
future for all
That's
three.
a lot.
Just no babysitters if you're interested.
No.
Especially that.
No, I actually like babysitting, but not if I'm going to be the teacher.
Do you like teach kids that you babysit? Or do you just
I mean, if
are
they're
you the kind of
homework-
babysitter? Are you the babysitter who's like, all right, let's do this, this, and this? Or do you put the kids in front of the TV or in front of their TikTok? Because you don't really watch TV. I mean, she doesn't watch TV.
Yeah, but if they watch the TV, then I can go on my phone, so they're entertained,
And you're entertained.
and I'm entertained,
Right.
and I'm getting paid.
You get paid. You get that money.
Yeah.
Jobs are scarce these days.
Thank you.
Not that that has to do anything with anything. Yeah, and I am making a ton of money off this podcast already. So that's
You
awesome.
actually?
No, I didn't even. I was trying to get a website. Me and my brother, the producer, Declan, shout out.
Declan.
We were
Love that.
we were trying to get an RSS feed because that's what you need to make a podcast. And he's like, "All right, this one's like 99 cents." I'm like, "Dude, like, can we get a free one, please?"
99 cents.
I don't want to pay 99. If this is like event, like, why am I taking expenses if I have no profit?
I have nothing to say back to that. That is true.
But there are free sites, so we figured it out. But no, this podcast is free to listen to, fun to make. It's really just an excuse to get these guys to hang out with me. Nervous laughter. But let's pivot the conversation. I made that joke last night too.
Did anyone get it?
Yeah, the live studio audience, Nina got it.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, Nina.
So I think I'm gonna make that a thing. The pivot.
The pivot
I don't
thing.
know. It
I
seems to
watched
come
that
up in all
episode
my
like
episodes.
2 nights ago. Fun fact.
HBO
You guys
Max.
don't know what I'm
Do
talking about?
you watch
It's a
Friends?
joke, right?
Do you watch
Friends.
Friends?
No. When
That's a
Ross
huge-
is carrying up the,
the
couch
mattress.
and
Anyway, we're gonna pivot here after that rousing segment about culture to goal setting. I misspelled that on the prep sheet. Because this is something I'm really interested in, and I feel like is kind of big for anybody who wants to achieve anything. How do you guys attack that? Is it something that you do in your mind? Do you ever write something out? Steps, goals, dreams, visions? Sarah, can I start with you? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I know. I'm first up here.
Yeah, that's true. We like this.
I know I kind of sat in the wrong spot, but it's okay. I think it's more of just like a day-to-day like mentality thing. I feel like you always have your bigger future goals in mind, like as an athlete, winning a national championship, like that'll always be in the back of your mind. But I feel like it's supposed to be, our coach always says, like one day at a time, like one game at a time. If you're thinking for the next game, you're not focused on the present and how you're gonna play and the opponents you're going up against and everything. So I feel like it's just mini goals each day that ultimately lead you to what you want to achieve.
Big success. The journey of 1,000 miles
Yeah.
begins with a single step, as
Exactly.
always. Joe, what do you think?
Goals for me, I would say you need to put like a number on it, I guess, because you can't just say, "Oh, I want to get better at baseball," or "I want to get better at guitar." Like I always told myself, "Oh, I'll do 30 minutes guitar a day or something." Like you got to have like a set amount of time, or you're never going to do it. Also, like goes for working out. If you like see a picture of someone, you're like, "Oh, I want to look like that." Like you don't. And you work out after the first day, and you look at yourself in the mirror, and you say, "Oh, I don't look at that," and you like get down on yourself. You should be comparing yourself to like the day before in your own personal progress, never comparing to anybody else, because all you need to do is just you're yourself. You gotta focus on your again personal progress.
Yeah, I should have had you bring your guitar. He's a renaissance man. Maybe in a later episode, I'll like clip this audio, bring it back. We said he was gonna play the guitar. He did it now. What is that? You play the ukulele.
Yeah,
as well.
it's a lot easier. And it's
We had some musicians on last night, but should have invited you as well.
damn. I missed it.
Joey, what do you think?
I mean, I've never really had like a systematic way of kind of dealing with goals. Like I'm not good with like what Joe was saying, like a number, like practice 30 minutes like a night. I think it more relates back to what I talked about when we were saying how we got, or like when we first knew that we were gonna play, or that we wanted to play in college. It's kind of like the same thing I think about when I'm setting goals. It's kind of like a thing that I'm just always working towards it like every day, and it's kind of like always something that's in the back of my mind. It's just somewhere that I expect to get to. So like everything I do, like from like the start of the week to the end of the week is kind of in an effort to someday get to that goal, like to accomplish what I want to do. It's just, for me, it's just really difficult to kind of like piece it together in little pieces. I feel like it's best to just kind of go like smoothly and just kind of work it like slowly and get to that point that you want to get to. I'm just not a big work in increments guy.
Right. So, but you hold yourself accountable still.
Of course.
You're pretty hard on yourself.
Maybe.
Do you think
You could
are?
say that.
Do you think you are?
A little bit, yeah.
One could venture to guess.
Definitely.
So, you kind of just have that end goal, well, not goal, but end result in mind,
Mm-hmm.
and you let that, you know, when you wake up and you think, am I going to root, or am I hitting the wall? You let that motivate you as opposed to checking a box.
Yeah. And I mean, like that's just kind of something that I don't really think about like this far, I've come pretty far in sports, but like this far in my life, it's just kind of like something I don't think about, and I just like without even me knowing it, I guess it kind of motivates me.
Right.
Like it's just like subconscious, I guess, and like even more so like if I see my brother going outside and doing something, like that's just like an extra motivator to
Right.
help me reach a goal that I have, you know, just being like I want to be better than him, like just being competitive. It just kind of stacks on top of each other and it helps.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I guess that's the best way I can describe like how I reach my goals.
Yeah. And so you would say being around people that are successful helps you out in that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, you grew up, you know, I mean, maybe at a certain point in your brother's shadow, but I feel like that's kind of been eradicated a bit. You guys are definitely valued as two completely different players, at least.
Yeah, I mean, like he was, like I can view it in like a couple different ways. Some, I guess, depending on like how I'm feeling that day, would really decide if I was viewing it as he kind of paved a path for me and like made some things easier and just kind of like opened doors that would have been much harder for me to open if I didn't have him. Like just kind of like getting our last name out to colleges, like when he went through the recruiting process was big. But you know, if I just came up short on something that I wanted to do in sports, like a small goal I had, I guess, and he did it. Like I remember they had the top 100, like they had rank incoming recruits, like top 100 for each class. And my brother was ranked like his junior year, like 96th or something in the 2017 class, and then like he just kept going up. I think he was like in the 70s his senior year where he was shipping off to college, and I just never could crack that top 100 list, and that just frustrated me a lot. And that was like something when I was going into college, I was like, before I was like, I hope I get in that list because it's just going to give me some extra confidence, you know, because it's just different on the East Coast. You don't, like, I just didn't really know what to expect. And I was like, I would really like some extra confidence because I'm a little scared about, like, what I'm getting into. And, I mean, I just didn't have that. And so then I guess it turned into, like, less of, like, being confident in your abilities, but more into, like, I want to prove something.
Right.
Which I mean, I might think at this point provided, like, a little bit more motivation than just having some confidence.
Right. So you kind of let that failure light fire for you. Do you feel like you've been I mean, you were in 3 state championship games in your high school career, right?
Yep.
And you're 1 and 2. I mean, it's not a secret. Like, it was nice to get that one, but do you ever feel like, I mean, I know for our junior year, that failure motivated us to win. I mean, almost exclusively. Do you feel like that is a big motivator for you? Like, just in general, like, you know, things that you haven't hit in the past, or kind of like that fear of failure that in the future?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's like something that I've like had a tough time coping with, but just like failure of any kind, like when you're going for a goal, is just tough to deal with. And like there's nothing that frustrates me more, but when it does happen, I feel like it has like a more of an impact than anything else could possibly have in like helping me get better or motivate me. So mistakes and failures have definitely shaped me more than successes.
Right.
It's kind of something deep, I guess, but it's true.
Hey, that's what we're about. But do you think though, like, that you grew more from the failures and are able to be better today? Because I mean, Joe said he grew from his injuries, which I guess is kind of a paradox, but
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, it was like going into the junior year, this sophomore year, like we lost, and my brother had like played in 4 state championships, and he lost every single one.
Mm-hmm.
And like I couldn't even imagine how that would feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just extremely difficult. And because I remember I lost 1, and I was like, I never want to feel like this again. And had like him having to go through 4 of those, like it's just wild. And you know that kind of just changed me, and like I feel like it made me more like level-headed when I was playing, because like the more times I'd go through failures, like the bigger they were, the easier it was to deal with failures. So like if I was playing a game now and I make a mistake, like turn the ball over or something, I used to just get completely out of sync, like get in my own head. But now I like do a way better job of kind of like dealing with that and just kind of playing through it, because you know something like that's pretty insignificant when you think about losing some state championships.
Right.
That like hurts a lot more.
Right.
So I feel like it's just all perspective.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite quotes that I brought up a few times, you know, Elon Musk always says, we need to fail as fast as possible, because he realizes that like it's the best way to go forward. Small example, as you can tell by now, we've had a little bit of technical difficulties, but I kind of wanted to start this before I was ready, you know, just to do it and get it out there. But I will never again make the mistake that the camera cannot charge while it films. And hopefully that leads, and hopefully, again, nervous laughter by my wonderful guests, but hopefully that will, you know, isn't a lesson that I have to learn twice, and I can get a better product from that. So, yeah, I just find that really interesting, how, you know, a lot of times, I mean, I think about that too, like, once you've failed, it's easier to succeed, and then sometimes once you succeed, it's even harder to go back. You know, Sarah, how have you, like, how long was the gap between when you said, oh my gosh, greatest moment of my sporting life, it all paid off, we won, coach is taking us out, to time to go back to the board? Because I bet, I mean, you're not at school, but you guys are already kind of, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted us to kind of like take a break, because everything was just, right after that, you know, it's day after day, practice and stuff, and games and stuff, but after that, it was like, it was Christmas, and then he would kind of just want us to like relax and like get our bodies like back to normal a little bit, but even that, like, we were talking to all of our other teammates, and we were like, are we supposed to be working out? Are we not supposed to be working out? And they're like, dude, I haven't done anything in like 3 weeks, so if we're doing a fitness test, like, I'm screwed. And I was like, okay, good, I haven't really done much either, but even at that time, it was just like, it felt weird to not like work out, because I feel like I was gonna come back and be like totally out of shape, but he has us off for like a week, and then he's like, once we're back on campus, it's like you kind of like get yourself back into it, and then go from there.
Right. And your mindset is not, I mean, I'll never forget, Joe, you remember our first meeting senior year when Wilson was wearing his ring, and he took it off, and this is not a small or inexpensive ring, and he threw it in the desk drawer. You remember this? And he just slammed it, and he said, it's over, you know. And
I do remember that.
Yeah, you gotta attack again.
Yeah.
You know,
No.
you gotta.
Right after we got back on campus, he was like, he wanted it to be over as soon as possible. He's like, all right, the game's over, like, now we're back on, we're focusing back on to our winter season to get better, get more technical, get our fitness up, and then get ready for the incoming freshmen who are gonna come in again, and then get them prepared for the next. But he wanted our rings to get in so fast. He was so eager to get them in, not only just because you get the ring, but then it's done with it. Like, once you get it, it's done. But now it was just like the waiting of getting it, and everyone excited to get their ring, but we haven't got them still yet. But yeah, it was over. It was done.
Right.
It was in the past. So
Right.
that's
And
always what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, after Coach Wilson did that, I was shocked.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's a huge thing. But thinking back on it more and getting more perspective, like, that's kind of the fun part, I feel like, is going to the drawing board and saying, we get the chance to climb again.
It's great, but do it again,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if anybody set out in their sporting career to say, I'm going to win championships and that's it, that's why I'm out here, that's the only thing I'm doing, their career would be short. I mean, let's be honest. Like, it's so fulfilling and it's so great, but I feel like at the same time, in anything, whether that's school, sports, any extracurricular, like, you have to love that chase a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that you guys are pretty ready to go at it again?
Yeah, I'm excited. It sucks that everything
That was a
got short,
quick
though.
yeah. That was a quick yeah. She's ready. Wow. Okay.
I do. I want to be back, but because everything got pushed back, it sucks because freshmen going into the winter season is more of a time to, like, it's not just games after games after games. You have to be prepared for it. Now it's more like getting technical, getting more touches on the ball with the time that you have, where you're not playing in a game where you need to perform that like so well. It's more just like taking it slow, making sure you're doing everything correctly so that in a game setting, in a fast-paced setting, it can be done the right way and well. So I think a bunch of our freshmen, like our freshman year in my class, were all kind of like hesitant to go in and was kind of like saw everyone out there and was like, oh shit, like everyone's really good, like I suck. Mm-hmm. And that's how it was when you transition from club to college. But I think our winter season, we were all kind of getting the hang of it and getting back into the swing of things with technical and fitness, and it sucks that it was short because we were performing way better.
Yeah.
But
what have you been doing? I mean, I feel like the lockdown, the shutdown, the quarantine kind of separated, the cream of the crop a little bit, and whether or not people are just kind of cream of the crop.
I love that.
Yeah. Whether people are still getting after it or not. Whether they can say, hey, I can actually have an excuse to hole up and watch Netflix, as we were saying, which I did a little bit of, rip on myself. But what have you been? Where's your mind at right now?
I was off. I was like, there's no way. Like that whole thing just got cut short. Like if we're not going to be able to work out there, then all of that time lost, I need to be like putting it in somewhere else. And thankfully at home we have a gym in our basement that I use because everything's closed and everything. And the fields, football fields and all that was closed for a couple months. So I just basically worked out downstairs for a while, set up some cones in my yard, did some technical stuff, but now that football fields are open, it's nice.
Yeah. Joe, what about you?
I would say the start of quarantine, like, especially with my classes finishing and stuff, I got a little lazy, procrastinated a lot with classes, and that kind of set me back for working out. I didn't prioritize it as much, but as things started getting progressing and stuff, I've had my friend come over actually the past couple of weeks, and we're just getting after it. We got every single day, we got different workouts planned and stuff, but it's some of the hardest workouts I've ever done. We just have it right in my yard, we're just getting after it. We've been doing the end of every workout, we do core. Maybe we'll hold on to the pull-up bar and we'll punch each other. We're getting after it.
Yeah, Joe's pretty. He's not really that hardcore. He's kind of soft. So, just kidding. That's insane. Do you guys punch each other?
Yeah, dude. It's good.
It's like Rocky.
I know. That's what
it's like Rocky.
We're gonna watch Creed tomorrow, actually.
Okay.
Before working out.
Do you want a cowhide?
A cowhide?
Would you punch that? You know how he
actually we do have a dummy.
Okay. Yeah. So this is basically Rocky, but for baseball.
Yeah.
Can you do a Rocky voice or no? I don't want to put you on.
I can't even remember Sylvester Stallone.
That guy's kind of a legend.
He is. Probably on roids though. He was on roids.
Yeah. Juicing.
Yeah.
Baseball wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
To you, Joey.
I mean, my first thought about the quarantine was I was not mad about it whatsoever. I was mad about the season getting canceled, but I was well, I mean, now I just get to sit here and relax, and like I don't have to have like the stress of going out and doing stuff. I can just sit here and hang out because I don't get that time very often. So like to start, I was for sure like not really doing much, but you know, after a while, you start to just kind of feel like you're missing something. That's what I kind of felt like I was missing something that I just needed in my life, and it was just kind of like a routine that I didn't have it. And you know, I just started working out like every single morning, every day during the week, and you know, I just feel a lot better because of it. And it kind of keeps me like just motivated into stuff that's not necessarily related to athletics, just like working, like going to, now I guess that stuff's starting to open up, like making plans with friends. I'm usually like not good at committing to plans, but like I guess now that I'm on more of a routine and then I'm just like kind of set things up throughout the week, that I find myself like just doing a lot more stuff than I would usually do, which is pretty nice. And so the quarantine really helped me like realize that if I really want to like kind of live life the best way possible, that you just need to get in a schedule and you need to start doing stuff, because it's like really hard to get going, but once you start, it's worth it, I'd say.
I remember the day, so when I came back from school, we had an extended spring break, and literally 3 days after school, I was in bed. I hadn't woken up past 9 a.m. in a long time, and I was in bed. I woke up at 10, and I was like ready. I was like, oh my god, I gotta get out of bed, and I was like, why? You know, like when you don't have that driver there, and I was like, oh, so I'll just stay in bed, and I stayed in bed until the afternoon, and I did get lazy, but there's something about it. Like, fortunately for me, school started back up, and like I kind of got back the wheels turning, but it was weird. Like there was nothing to go at, like to do, you know, and that it seems like you guys have regained that, and that was when I actually had the idea to do the podcast, because people were saying soon after, in one of my classes, in my Monroe first year seminar in school, shout out Mr. Pressler, great teacher. One of the kids was like, you know, if you don't have, you know, your product, if you don't have your hustle nailed down at the end of quarantine, then you're never gonna do it, right? Because when else are you gonna get gifted that time? And that's when I was like, you know what? I just gotta start it. I just gotta do it. So I wanted to ask, because I feel like a lot of people out there, you know, the world's kind of waking up again. We've got like 60 days or something until we go back to school. So hopefully this motivates people to kind of get going. I mean, if you're not hanging from a pull-up bar and getting punched in the stomach right now, I think you're doing it wrong. I'm just kidding. We're gonna pivot again, and this is my favorite part of the show, to be perfectly honest, because I've got all these great guests and the people that I'm privileged to interview, and I get to ask them what they learned throughout their kind of path. So if you were asked, you know, at some point, what is Sarah's key to success, what is one thing that she would say to her younger self, to somebody who is in your shoes, you know, whether that's someone our age or somebody who just wants to be great in general, what would you say to them?
I think time management is a big part in life, and even like our coach always talks about discipline and the word, and it's like engraved in every single one of our minds. He'll always talk about, one day before or after training, he was like, yo, do you have any more in you? And I was like, yeah, probably. I could probably do something else. And he was like, so why are you walking over there to go take your cleats off? And I was like, I didn't want to give him sass back because I have a huge bio test tomorrow that I really need to study for, but I was like, do I even tell him, or do I just like do it and let it go? And I was like, I really need to study for this bio test. And I was like, I have to study for a bio test. And he was like, okay, I can't argue with academics, blah, 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 but just like for future reference, just know, like, if you have anything else in you, like, go do it. And then like the next day, I'm in my other coach's office and we're talking, and my coach comes up and he's like, so I have an idea. And I was like, oh, yep, what's your idea? He's like, so remember we were talking if you have anything left in you and you told me you had a bio test. I was like, yep. And he's like, so after practice when you go to ice baths, since freshmen are always last for ice baths, I don't know if you guys do the same for like seniority or whatever, but we do. We do seniority. So we always have to wait like 10
The less of the
minutes.
stretch lines.
That's true. The ice bath though.
Yeah, we gotta wait like
Just get in
10,
there.
15.
It's like a huge
Take after,
pool.
I wish, but yeah, we gotta wait like 10, 15 minutes. And he was like, so what'd you do with those 10, 15 minutes? And I was like, you got me. He's like, so you think you could have like set up like your study guide on like a treadmill and ran on a treadmill for those 10 minutes before you got an ice bath? And I was like, yeah, I probably could have done that. And that just like totally opened my mind. Like those 10 minutes, like, yeah, I sat there waiting for ice bath, didn't think anything of it, but like I could have been studying for my test, or I could have been running to finish the little bit of energy left I have. But also for like people who are trying to play in college, I feel like if you gotta really want it, because you always say, yeah, I want to play in college. Like I'm sure a bunch of people do, but you never really know until you get there. And I think you gotta really want it, or else it's just not gonna click.
Right. That's great advice. Because it is, I mean, when you're going after something so big and like that mountain to climb, like your coach said, 1 minute matters everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it can come down to 1 second.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's really good advice for anybody. I struggle with the snooze button. I think I need like an anonymous group for the snooze button. But like, it's only, I think my phone is like 7 minutes. Like, that's no big deal. Like, but I feel like those little things add up. Like,
Yeah.
you're hitting the treadmill after practice, but that's what it takes. Like,
Yeah.
those tiny little things, making sure the camera's recorded for the podcast. So, but I feel like that is huge. Time management is, because there's only 24 hours in the day. We've all, Joe, you talked about this. You have very little time to yourself, and when you're trying to succeed in sports and school, and not to mention moving to a brand new place and meeting brand new people, like there's a lot of noise. There's a lot swirling around your head, but it really does kind of wake you up to what you have to do, what you have to accomplish. So, have you applied that, you think, to your life?
I think my friends always tell me you sound exactly like your coach, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Is it a good thing?
Right.
But yeah, I'm also very routine based, so during quarantine it's always like,
It's algebra.
yeah, it's math. Yeah, I'm taking a math class online, so I also
Sounds fun.
have that. Oh, very fun. Yeah. So I have to incorporate that into my day, work out, wake up at a reasonable time, not 12 o'clock in the afternoon every single day. Work out, hang out with my friends, do everything I want to do, but get it done in that time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
As much as I want to lay down and watch TikToks.
Right.
Yeah.
That.
Save that for night.
I feel like that's a huge temptation these days. Like the
Yeah.
phone is like just the gateway to
Oh, it is.
losing hours.
For sure.
And that's not 7 minutes. That can be 7 hours for people.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
Use that tool. I don't know. I haven't mastered it, obviously, but I've just been thinking about that. All right, Joe, what about you?
If I was to talk to my younger self, first I would just say, like, don't be so careless about your health. Not that I was like that careless, but just coming off the injury, I should have been smarter. Just with, like, I know I was really excited to get back into it, but just be more thoughtful on like developing and stuff. And I would probably go back to the not feeling sorry for yourself and just like the no quit mentality. Because a lot of people are going to quit, like if they go through certain things, or they'll quit and curl up into a ball and they'll stay that way. They'll never like face that fear or challenge or something. But you're going to be better if you do attack that and climb over it and eventually. Even if you don't win, you give it your all and almost like conquered that problem or whatever you had in your life.
That's wow. my heart started beating faster. Someone punched me in the stomach. Oh, no. I keep making that joke. I don't know why. I just have that image, but that's sweet. But that's good. I mean, hindsight is always, pretty clear. But at some point, I feel like you just have to say, hey, like, you take those lessons, you learn it, and I feel like that no quit mentality that you kind of developed in high school, I feel like it was a critical point when you got asked to redshirt. David Goggins, in his book In the Early Stages, he had that he had the sickle cell trait. The first time he went to Air Force training.
He almost was happy that he had it, so
Yeah,
he could
and he was
quit
happy
out in the
because he didn't want to do the water training. Yeah, and they said he had to start over from the beginning, and he said he pretended to be all sad because he couldn't finish, but he didn't want to. He had that out, and he took it, and that led to a few more years of him just going down the wrong road. And I feel like nobody would have blamed you for saying, hey, I need a year to regroup, I need to get stronger, I need healthier, but you had that mentality in you, and literally days later had one of the biggest plays of your life and kind of cemented yourself in that lineup. Like that no quit mentality is huge, I feel like, because there's always going to be setbacks when you're going after a championship, when you're trying to be a great player, a great person in general, but you just can't give up at that point, and you can't take that out, can't hit the snooze. But yeah, Joey, same question.
I'd say that, like, probably the biggest thing I learned is that just mindset, with whatever you do, is probably the most important. I mean, like, yeah, you gotta, like, work out and stuff and, like, get in shape, get stronger, but just mentality, like, how you look at things is, like, really important. So, because, like, a lot of people who don't really play a sport, they kind of just, like, people have said it to me, like, they're like, what's the point of you playing a sport? Like, it's not like you're trying to go pro or something like that. And, like, that kind of made me think, because, like, really, really think about, why am I playing this sport? And, I mean, I guess it's kind of like, just going off to college, like, it's kind of like the feeling of, like, you're growing up. Like, it's just, like, things are changing, but if you played sports as a kid, it's just kind of like a way to, like, really stay, like, true to yourself, like, what you were doing when you were younger. And, like, although you're going away to college, like, it's a lot of new experiences, you still kind of have that, like, one activity that you're doing a lot throughout the day that just kind of keeps you grounded and, like, not lost in all the new stuff that's going on. And I mean, like Sarah was talking about, and you said something about, like, going out and, like, how you don't really get much time to go out. I kind of, like, look at it as a blessing that we can't go out, because, like, a lot of the kids at, like, the big state schools, they're going out 4 times a week, like, more nights than they're not going out. And I can only go out, like, twice a week during the off season, and then once when I'm in season. And just because you don't have that opportunity as much, it makes it that much better. Like, to go out and be able to hang out with your friends, go out, just go downtown, doing whatever, it makes it more enjoyable. So, like, just the grind itself has kind of, like, made me look at everything differently and really appreciate, like, the time I have, especially, like, back home in the summer. Like, I'm trying to, like, go out and do more stuff than I would usually do. I would, like, usually be sitting at home. And so I guess that's kind of, like, the biggest takeaway I had from the time I was in college, that it's just mindset is probably, like, the biggest thing. With whatever you're doing.
How you look at things is huge. And, we haven't talked about it too much, but there is a difference in lifestyle depending on, I feel like college, maybe in high school a little bit of separation, but now that you're in college, like, you can see more, people's character, their habits, their lifestyle differentiates them a little bit more now than it did when we were younger. And there were times, Notre Dame is by no means a party school, and there are times when I'd have maybe a philosophy paper due Friday, and then Latin test, and I'm sitting in the study room on Thursday night, got my head buried in the books, and wouldn't look at my phone all night. And before I go to bed, I check Snapchat, look at the stories, and it's story after story of people going out doing, God knows what. And I'm thinking, yeah, God, what would that, that would be nice. But then, at least for me, and from what it sounds like, what you said, Joey, and Sarah, you mentioned this, you kind of realize that is not the ideal. I mean, at least for us, that's not the ideal. That's not what we're going after. And not to say that, having fun or anything is not important, but when you have these bigger goals in mind and when you are trying to be great, that's something that you just kind of have to put to the side. And it does make it more valuable, I think, as well. I'd like to have a good time as much as the next guy, but I feel like there's just something more to be going after at this time in your life when you're so young. You get to set up these habits. You get to get in that routine, and you get to cement that character of, hey, I'm going to go after something worthwhile. Why do play sport? Why study so hard? Like, it's because it's important. You can't just flip a switch. I have talked to multiple kids who say, oh yeah, now, my GPA wasn't so good, but I'll get a job and then I'll just, start from there. Like, it's not just a switch. I feel like that gets flipped. I feel like a lot of our habits have translated from high school. And we've got 3 people who are doing huge things, and our live studio audience who is also doing, very well. But they're here because they do these great things. And hopefully this gives you a bit of recognition. But people should, it's not easy. You gotta really want it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's something that I always have in my mind. And when I wanted to start the podcast, I was like, these are people that I got to have in the chair because I knew we were going to talk about this. And I think it's so valuable. I think it's really valuable. So we're going to now go, and I'm going to ask plans for the future. And we're going to start with Joey, reverse the order. In terms of sports, in terms of, you mentioned going pro, life down the road. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't, there's not really, there is pro lacrosse.
I mean, pro lacrosse, but
no
it's not,
of that.
yeah, it's not.
I mean, I really want to, for sports, I just really want to help, contribute to the team, while I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
It's, as I said earlier, my mindset has changed a lot from when I was, more focused on myself, my individual accomplishments. Now it's you're so close with everyone around you. You want to do everything you can to make their team, their experience better. So you're working. So that's what I'm just trying to do. I'm trying to really perform the best that I can for everyone else around me, and hopefully we've accomplished some great stuff by the time I finish my time there. And academics, I don't know. I'm just gonna finish out the major that I'm studying in right now, and which I know is going to be challenging, but I'm pretty interested in what I'm studying more than other options I had for majors. I mean, that's why I chose it. So I really don't know what the plan is for after college in terms of where I work or my job, but I'm just gonna kind of buckle down like everyone else is and get the degree and maybe grad school because we're getting that extra year of eligibility.
Yeah.
So that's definitely an option that I'm thinking about, but that's the plan right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Joe?
As far as baseball goes, become the best player I can, help win a GMAC, possibly make regionals. Yeah, as far as professionally, I don't know what happens with that, but yeah, just again, becoming the best player I can be. School, just continue to work hard. Again, I'm not like Joey, I don't have a clear-cut job or something I'm aiming towards, but something in the medical field and possibly doing med school at the Armed Forces because you can get that paid for. And yeah, just making an impact on the world.
That's big. Love impact. Love value. Sarah?
I'd say the same. I don't think about pro really, just basically being the best myself for my teammates around me, coach, parents, that. And then future, I'm not too sure, but I want to do something obviously in education, like I said earlier, in teaching, And then a big goal, which, we'll see. But I think it'd be really cool to have like a training facility.
That is cool.
And like
Okay.
own
That's
it.
awesome. I love that.
So it's like a little bit incorporated with like athletics.
Do you run?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be cool to still have that like athletic side and then teach at a school.
That's awesome.
But that's a big goal. We'll see if that.
That's cool. No, I think a lot of times it's those. I mean, as we said, you kind of say, hey, here's where I am, and here's the GMAC. Like, what do I have to do in the meantime to get there, right? And I mean, the thing with the training facility, it's not 12 months. It's maybe 12 years or 20 years or whatever.
Right.
But at the same time, if you have that goal out there, you vocalize it, you put it in the world, like, your mind is going to be making that connection. I feel like so.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I admire that. Wow. Okay. I think that's gonna be it from me and from us. We're gonna have a chance now to do some shout outs. Joe, you're in the middle. We'll start with you.
I guess follow me on Instagram, Joe Hardenbergh. I don't really have much to promote here.
Yo. Shout outs to like people. You can shout out yourself, I guess.
Oh.
But like,
I guess my parents. Yeah.
wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here without them. Parents, friends,
Literally.
Patrick.
No one.
Yeah, Patrick for making this happen, on this podcast. So thank you. And
Very nice.
yeah, that's pretty much it.
And we're pickleball partners.
Yeah, pickleball.
Which is not a small deal. I don't play sports anymore, so that's huge for me.
Yeah, that's the biggest night of the week.
Yeah, the biggest night of the week. And the golf links.
Yeah.
Where did we finish yesterday? Like within a stroke
Of each
of each
other?
other. I mean, we were 2v2 scramble. Me and you, not scramble. Best score.
ball.
Not best ball. Best score. You take the best score.
It's the
Best
same
ball
thing.
is. No, best ball is when you. I thought that's.
That's scramble.
Oh, you golf? Yeah. Live audience is just not the new policy. You have to bring mac and cheese for the rest of us next time.
Maybe. We'll see. If I get enough tips at work.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll come back to that. But we were.
you were
playing
beating
well.
me by one on the front, but then back, I was.
Say what was it? Say it.
What?
Par,
Oh,
bogey,
par, bogey, par to start off. I mean,
We
it
had
doesn't
to cut
get
the
much
rush
better
short.
than that. Because that's 4 pars or some birdies I get. Not that good.
We'll get there. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Who wants to go next?
Joey.
Joey knows.
Okay, yeah. I mean, obviously just shout out my family, but like more specifically my brother, because it's I feel bad like for I don't know if you have any siblings that you like competed with or like had like to set goals against, but that was a huge help, and like I don't think about it enough, but it was one of the like the driving forces for me, and not everyone has that, so I'm just kind of grateful for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sure.
I'd say my coach. I don't
Does
know.
Coach have a name?
Jeff Hostler.
Coach Jeff Hostler. If you're out there, I hope you're
Yeah,
listening.
I'll
Your
let him
star
know.
people has done well.
I'll let him know about it. But yeah, I think, I don't know, for me personally, my transition, I think, from club to college soccer was rough. I don't know, it was harder than I thought it was going to be. But I think he's very, like, inspirational, and, like, him being, like, you got 10 minutes that you're sitting down, like, why don't you do something with that? And I think that's something that I carried on with me. And it's been only a year. So I think, him for sure, he's had a major impact on how I look at life and the game, and
That's awesome. We're gonna swing it to the studio audience. Do you want to come over here so the mic can pick you up? You get a shout out.
I give a shout out?
Yeah. Speak
I don't
up
know
though,
who to
'cause I don't know
shout
if they'll hear you. What?
I don't know who to shout out.
Think of someone quick.
Shout out my dad, if you're listening.
Oh,
He's
yes.
definitely gonna listen.
Oh
Yes.
yes. He's got he's got some of his favorite people on this podcast, and by that I mean you and Joey and Sarah.
Yeah.
Not you.
Not me. Not me. We don't get along. That's a great shout out though.
Yeah. The man deserves the world.
Yeah, he does for
He
sure.
does.
He definitely does. He has a beast. So yeah, for me though, this is the first episode that I think is going to air. So I have a bit of a laundry list. First of all, we have to shout out Madeline herself. When the podcast was in its infancy, it was just a seed of an idea. She was the first one I told, and she was like, "Do it, just go do it." And I don't know if I would have done it if you hadn't.
Really?
Yeah, because it was such a small. I said it off the cuff. I was like,
Listen
listening
to
to
my
the
advice.
podcast. No, but and now, I've obviously a good amount of people have heard about it now, even before its release, and not everyone thinks it's such a good idea. But I do, and she does, so that was huge for me. And then I have to shout out my brother, who is the producer of this podcast. He'll get a credit in the outro, but his help has been huge. So those two for me for sure. So yeah. Apologize for the technical difficulties, but we're gonna wrap it up. This has been Season 1, Episode 1. What?
Should I clap at the end?
You can clap right now if you want.
I'll wait for you to stop that.
Okay, she's gonna wait before you clap. But yeah, Season 1, Episode 1 of Success in Dialogue, and as always, thank you guys for listening. I really hope that this added some value to your life and you got something out of it, because these three plus one are really people that we can all learn from. So hopefully it's helped you out, and I hope that I could play a small part in that. So thanks a lot for that, and yeah, thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, absolutely. So thanks guys, and make it a great day.
Well, there you have it, folks. The first ever episode of Success in Dialogue. I know it's a long one, but I think that you and I will both agree that it contains a lot of really good stuff. So, as I said at the beginning of the episode, what I would ask is that if you enjoyed it, if it moved you, if you're now inspired to, I don't know, maybe get punched in the stomach like Joe during a workout, that you share it with one person and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, guys, one of the most important features of any podcasts are the ratings that it gets online. So if you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it, if you have comments, please drop a rating. I promise I will read all of them. And if you have any comments, questions, or actually if you have somebody that you think would be a fit, or you yourself would be a fit for a guest on Success in Dialogue, please reach out. DM us on Instagram at Success in Dialogue, or to my personal account at Patrick Owen Waite. That being said, if you made it this far, you are now a member of the Success in Dialogue family. And as a bonus, you are now the first to know that we will be announcing our guests for episode 2 on Saturday at 8 p.m. So stay tuned for that. Remember to follow us, drop a rating, DM us, anything that you want to do. And that's a wrap for Success in Dialogue with Patrick Owen Lee, Season 1, Episode 1, Athletics. Go get it.